Another outside project. Welcome back to the shop and the channel and my latest project, which is for a friend's church. Anyhow, this is a block diagram of the project. I'm going to be building that lower box you see in this video. It's going to consist of two side panels that are framed with internal panel and quarter round on the inside, giving it some decorative look. Two front doors that open up completely. There's not going to be any framing on either side of that. And a back panel that'll just be a piece of plywood. This is going to sit on casters so that it can be wheeled around. So let's get started on that. Oh, one other thing. My schedule is going to lighten up a little bit. I'll be probably not doing videos every Friday for a while. I'll get back to that, but we have some fun, exciting stuff coming up that we're going to be doing, and I won't have time to work in the shop that much. So things are going to get a little light for a little while. When that's all over, we'll be back to doing this. So I'll get as much as I can get done in this video on the bottom part of this thing. I'll describe more what the thing is as we go along. To start with, the sides of this box are made with these 1.5 by 3/4 inch pieces of better pine from the big box store, because I don't have to do anything to it. I can just mill it the way I want it and we're done. And a piece of plywood, which is going to be the center panel for both of these side panels. But the first thing you got to do is, get off the gooey labels. I know most people know how to do this, but let's get off the gooey labels. First thing you use is a heat gun. Turn it on, get it nice and hot. Label gone. But now it's got a sticky little layer left behind. Bucket of acetone. It's one of these little pump things. Take some acetone, get it into your rag. Voila. Smooth, no sticky gooeys. I have my cheater drawing. I got all my dimensions here to cut the stuff out with. So let's start out with the rails and stiles. Like a previous project I did on this channel, I'm going to be using stub tenons to fasten this all together, and it's all going to be fastened other ways as well, but I'm going to use stub tenons. It's easy and they're very strong for a piece of furniture like this. That involves datoing out the groove here that matches the plywood. So let me get this set up so I'm going to chop saw and I'll cut these things out. Anyway, because I'm using stub tenons, the inside width of the verticals, the stiles, is 15 inches. So the pieces, when done, have to be 15.5 inches for a 1/4 inch for the 1/4 inch stub tenons. They're going to be on the end of it. I'm going to go over that. You can always take wood off. It's real hard to put wood back on. And the verticals are going to be 20 1/4, and they can be exactly that length, 20 1/4, because they're just going to hold the stub tenons inside them. And then I'll cut the panels out of the plywood that'll slip into all of that, and you'll have a side, one side, two sides. There's my rails and stiles, 4 of each, 2 sides. Now I need to cut the dados to match in the center to match the plywood I'm using, which requires a dado head, several test cuts on some test pieces, and then when I finally got it dialed in, I cut these. These don't get cut until I'm sure I'm going to get it right. Testing setup complete. I set it up with a lot of finicky adjustments for a single pass. So this is 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here, and this is just a little shy of a 1/4 inch wide because plywood is not a 1/4 inch, but it's a little bit deeper, so I've got a little bit of wiggle room as the panel goes in. So I'm going to do all of these in one pass, and then all of the dados will be cut. So let's cut some dados on time lapse. Featherboard. For the next setup, of course, I need to take the shorter ones, which are a little bit longer than the shorter ones, and I need to cut the tenons. They're going to go into the stub, the dados here, the stub tenons, so I can join these pieces together correctly. That's the next step. I'll set up a frame for gluing them up as well. So that's the next setup, and then once I get these so they fit together and clamp them, I get a really exact measurement for the panels and cut those out on the table saw. But right now, while I've got the dado stack up, I'm going to go ahead and set up to do testing on this piece. I'll run this all the way through, so I've got a lot of work, a lot of area here where I can test doing those stub tenons. So let me run this one through, and then we'll set up for this to the stub tenons. Well, after much futzing around and playing with the fiddly bits, I have gotten my stub tenons to match the dados. So now I just whack off all the stub tenons on the short pieces, which are sitting right there. Boring stuff, I'll just do it and we'll go on from there. But before I do that, let me show you the setup. The dado stack has the height to give me the thickness of the tenon I want with two passes, one this way and then pass this way. But it's actually two passes because the dado stack is just a little bit narrower than the depth of the tenon. I have to make a pass along this leading edge here first and then a pass for the shoulder. So basically it's one pass this way, push it into the stop, which gives me the exact depth I need for the tenon this way, and then flip it over and do the same thing and do it on both ends. So that's basically how that works. Now let me do one on camera and then I'll just do the rest off camera. And we are back at the back-to-back clamps. Clamp to the bench, and then it has clamping on top. Frame fits together very nicely. Somewhere between this segment and the previous segment, which is about 6 hours ago, I misplaced my other hat, the AOPA hat, so I'm wearing this one. Anyhow, the next thing to do is to basically glue these up one at a time. Basically, going to pull it apart, put some glue on them, slide in the panels, and then clamp them up nice and tight. So let's do that. I'm trying to get a little better angle here too. These parts are all matched, so I got to keep them in the same place. Glue. So, get these together. Perfect. Okay, now we got it set where I want it. So everything's ready to be glued up. So I put it into the clamp set, bring those up, and then tighten these down. Wait a minute, this is going to be moved a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Now, tighten these up. Nice and tight. Smooth. So these here edges are correct. Let's do a corner to corner measurement. Yeah, 27 7/8. Do it this way. 27 and not quite this, so it's got to move a little bit. All this while the glue is trying to cure. That's it. Perfect. I'm all set. Get it lined up. Bring these in tight. All right. That needs to sit. Once this one has cured enough, I will remove it and do the other one. And then we'll talk about the beading that's going to go on the inside of these side panels. We've got to, going to be some small beading. I'm looking at like 1/8 inch thereabouts, or if I've got a 3/16 bit, but the round over is going to be small. And this is the stock the round overs are coming out of. Basically, I'll show you, I'll demonstrate it, but you round over this corner, rip it off, and then split it down the middle. And you get the round overs you want to put inside here. Let's make some quarter round. Now, you really can't go down to the Borg and buy yourself 3/16 quarter round. Since the reveal in the panel is at 1/4 inch, you want a shadow line between that reveal and the quarter round, so that's 1/16 of an inch. So you can't go buy it. So change of plan. The piece of what I had originally is not going to work out. I got these pieces here, and what I'm going to do is you see I'm going to mill it on the router table, rounding over each corner. Then I go to the table saw and I rip it off at 3/16 of an inch this way. And then when I get all the ones I need ripped out 2 by 2, then I'll go, not changing the setting on the table saw, I'll rip out each individual piece of quarter round. I'm going to make extra just in case something breaks. And then, of course, miter it and put it in place. And then these 2 panels will be complete. And we can move on to the next step, which is putting the box together. It's going to have doors in the front and a slide-out table, slide-out drawer inside. So we got to get through all that. So let's do some roundovers and do some cuttings, and show you putting in at least one of those. Now, when I made Mara's armoire, I did the same thing. So previous videos I've shown this process before, but let's, for the giggles of it, go through it again with a little bit of time lapse maybe. So ear protection, QC35s, QC45s were a disaster. At some point, I'll talk about those. So there you go. This is the end result. this thus far. The next, see that on camera? I don't know. There you go. So, and then without changing the setting, I'll lower the blade and rip it this way when I get the rest of them done on the router table, and that will give me all of the round over I need, which is this quarter round, tiny little quarter round. I like making tiny little quarter round. So let me whip out the rest of this stuff, get it all cut out, and we'll start putting it into the panels. And here's what I'm talking about. You see that in the camera? Little tiny quarter round. It's going to fit nicely in the sides. Now I'm going to go and set that up so we can start putting those in. It requires mitering, very small mitering. I have a little tiny miter box, a little tiny miter saw. And we'll get this set up and get going and show you how these go in, and then we're done with this video. So, all right, I've got my all my my little molding here. I've got my little miter box here and a little miter saw, and I'm going to be, this is clamped in a vise so it won't move. But what I need to do is miter one end. I'm going to do the sides first, the top and the bottom, and then the ends, so it's all springs in together. So I'm going to cut. You can see how nicely that fits in there, I think, in camera with the reveal. So I'm just going to put a little mark to make sure I get mitered in the right direction. And then get this in the miter saw. Don't do a lot of heavy pushing down with the saw. Just let the saw do the work in these little miter boxes. There we go. So now I've got this corner is in place. That's going to work. And now I want to mark this end and go a little bit proud so that I can actually spring this in place. I'm going to do a little bit of glue in the middle, and the rest is going to be pins. So this wants to go this way. Little mark doesn't hurt to give you how you want to cut these things. Oopsie. I'm going to go over here and a little bit proud on this 45. Okay, and there it is. So that's a little snug. I can spring it in place. There, just like that. Put a little dab of glue here, and then on this, by the way, and then pin the rest of it. Little dab. That's all it takes. And I spring it into place. There we go, and now I'm going to pin it. That's not going anywhere, so that's pinned in place. A little bit of glue, and it's pinned in place. So the next thing you do is to flip it around and do the other side here the same way, and then the ends. So you typically go around in a circle. I do sides first and then the other sides. So I will now go and finish up the molding on all of these panels, and then you can see the finished product, and then we'll move on to the next part of this project in the next video, and I will I'm going to flash up a picture of what I'm building this for at the end of this video. Got the molding in. This is what it looks like. Got the reveal line, got the molding, the mitered corners. I know I could have milled each one of these with the molding already in it, but that requires a lot more finicky putting together and stuff, so I decided to do it the easy way, kind of simpler. So what is this for? I'm actually replacing this. What this is just an easel that they put up pictures, and then they put a table in front of it and put candles on top of the table. If you remember the drawing at the beginning of the video, I'm basically combining that all in one unit. That'll be on wheels, so I can wheel it around. It's all one floor. So the doors, the sides are done. They're done. Next step is to start putting the box together in the rough kind of, but that's for the next video. So until next time, make great things out of wood. Make some doors, panels, things.